everybody, welcome to the Flipside. I'm Sam.
I'm JT.
And we are continuing our top 10 games from 2012. We did the bottom half, the bottom 5 on the Dice Tower. So now we're going to do our top 5 games from 2012. What do you think?
Well, I think my that we might have 2 crossovers is probably dead already.
You think so?
I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll find out. We
2
didn't have any
crossovers,
crossovers last time.
Nope, no crossovers
I will
at
say
all.
your 5 were very... I don't even know if I've heard of any of them.
Really?
But they all sounded interesting. Maybe I heard of one of them.
You heard of one of them.
I heard of one of them for sure, but they all sounded very interesting. So,
yeah.
Especially the pigs. Go back and watch it.
You had a pig on your list, too.
I did?
Yeah,
Oh, man.
a stinky pig.
No.
All right.
All right, here we
Well,
go.
top 5. I don't know. Keep
There's
on believing.
possibility, huh?
Possibility.
I
there
called
might
2
be.
crossovers.
Called
He
2
said
crossover.
probably not. So we'll see what happens.
All right, let's get to it. All right, my number 5 is another game from AEG. I had one from AEG on my bottom half, so there's another AEG right here. This one's called Smash Up. Smash Up is a really fun game where you take 2 faction decks, like it could be apes and ninjas.
Yep.
And you put them together, and now you have ninja apes as your faction.
I knew this was going to be on his list.
Or it could be pirate sharks.
Pirate bananas.
Or no, not pirate bananas. That can't happen. There's no fruit. But that becomes your faction, and now your faction is special at 2 really cool things, or 2 really cool groups of things. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to use your faction, and you're fighting over 3 different bases. And those bases will continue to be fought over until you have a certain number of power represented by all of the people at that base. And whoever has the highest power will take the first place, and then the second power gets second place number of points. And you're trying to get a certain number of points. I don't know what it is. I think it's different for the player counts. But whoever gets the certain number of points first is the winner.
It's a 2-player game?
No, it can go up to 4.
Oh.
I want to say it can go up to 4. Yes.
Is it better at 2? Or is it better with more?
I think it plays well in all of the different things. Now, I haven't played this for a long time. Now, I do have the Marvel Smash up there that's still in shrink that I need to break out.
I might have to try this, actually.
So
I think if it plays with more than 2 players.
Yeah, I think it does. I know it plays more than 2 players because I've played it. One of my favorite gaming experiences was playing with a guy that was like half my age, but
that's not hard.
No, it's not. No, it's getting easier every day. But anyway, he was absolutely sure that he was going to win. I mean, he was convinced, and he was telling me why he was going to win every single round, every single time.
That.
And I beat him.
Yeah, good.
I loved it. But anyway, Smash Up is a really fun game.
Nice.
Great, the smashing the 2 factions together is really one of my favorite things about it. But that's my number 5, Smash Up from AEG.
Nice. So in your last one, not to do any spoilers, but we did talk about roll and writes a little bit.
We did.
This was probably my first roll and write that's popped onto any of these yearly lists. As my number 5, and it's a little roll and write, and it really doesn't have any a little family weight one. Doesn't have any reason to be this high, really. Like, you wouldn't think about it with all the different mechanics, but it's so good, and it's so much fun. And I played it a ton with my family, and I still have it, and it's called Quicks.
Quicks?
Yeah, Quicks is a really cool game.
Q-U-I-X-X?
Q-W-I-X-X.
Okay. I think I've seen this. I've never played it before.
This one's a pretty fun game. You get everybody around the board. On your turn, you have 4 tracks. 2 of them are sending from 2 to 12, and 2 of them are descending from 12 to 2, and they're different colors, each 4 different colors. I don't know, red, blue, yellow, green, probably. And you have 6 dice. You have 2 white dice, and then you have 1 of each of the colors. So on your turn, you get a roll, and you take the value of the 2 white dice, and anybody on the board can use that value of the 2 white dice and cross off one of their blocks on here. And you're trying to really get the most blocks. The more blocks you get crossed off in each row, you get more points. But you can never go back. So if my first one was a 4 and you decide to use a 4, then your 2 and 3 are, you're never going to get an X on them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, which is really the cool part, is once somebody gets 5 in there, if they get the top number, they can lock that out, and nobody else can use that color ever again.
Well, that's cool.
So it's got this really cool, like it's a race to get enough in a line so you can lock it out.
Yep.
But you're still trying to get as many as you can so that you can score them. So it's quite fun that way. But the person who rolls gets to use the 2 white dice too if they want. But then they also get to say, I'm taking this 1 white dice and this red dice, and using this as a red number. So the person who rolls gets to do 2 numbers on their turn.
Oh, okay.
So it changes a lot. Obviously, not everybody's marking the same thing. So, it's just a really fun little puzzle, and it's quick, and it's easy, and,
cool.
and it's really quite interesting.
That's cool. My number 4 is our first crossover.
Woohoo!
What do you think it is?
That's 1 of 2.
What do you think
Wait
it
a
is?
second. It's not tiramisu.
No, it is not.
All right, it would be legendary.
It's a little bit of a nope, not legendary.
All right.
It is pirate themed.
Oh, Libertalia.
Libertalia.
Nice.
And if you went and watched the bottom 5, everything that JT said, I really enjoyed. One of the things that I really enjoyed about it was the artwork. I loved the
grittiness,
the gritty artwork. It was very piratey looking artwork. It's pretty romantic, but the gritty style of the artwork, of the romantic pirate artwork, is what really kind of drew it out for me. I loved that, but the gameplay is really fun as well, because it does have that same feel.
When did the Pirates of the Caribbean come out, the movie, the first one?
It was near this. It was
funny
very...
If you look at some of the faces in this...
Yes.
It's like, they were trying to make this person's face, but not make this person's face.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. I think it came out right after Pirates of the Caribbean, and but all that said, I really enjoyed the artwork. It's very, very nice looking artwork. Strider, chill, dude, making so much noise. But I really enjoyed that. I also enjoyed the Mission Red Planet vibe of everybody has the same cards in the deck, and you're trying to use them at the right time to maximize their efficiency. I really enjoyed that aspect of it as well. So I enjoyed the game a lot. It's not one that I held on to over the years because other guys at the Dice Tower liked it better than I did. So I didn't ever have a copy of it. Gotcha. We were always playing somebody else's copy, but really good game, and I really did enjoy it a lot. That's my number 4, Libertalia.
Nice. My number 4 is definitely not going to be on your list, because I know how you feel about this game from Bezier Games.
Oh, really?
Called Suburbia, one of the most beautiful games you've ever seen.
No,
one of the most not beautiful games that anybody has ever seen.
Yeah.
But Suburbia is still a great puzzle. You're trying to build your little your little city area out with, whatever, airports and houses and, all of these different things. Some of them are going to give you income. Some of them give you population. Some of them give you reputation. And you're trying to manage all of those. It has a really cool mechanic where as your population goes up, you have to have more income to take care of them just as a maintenance fee.
Yeah.
So it's not something you can just hammer out a whole bunch of population if you don't have the infrastructure to actually maintain that. So it's just a really cool city builder. It is not the prettiest game in the world.
It is
but
not.
Mechanically, it really works amazing. Works really well in that tile placement.
I agree with that. I agree with it. I never didn't enjoy playing it except for the lack of aesthetics.
Yeah.
It was just so drab. I got bored because there was nothing to look at. And it's just like this color square over here and this color shape, whatever it is over there. It was so boring. But the mechanisms were good. I enjoyed the city building aspect of it. I enjoy those kinds of games, but it just looks so bad.
Don't put your houses next to the airport, you know. Don't put your mini mart in the middle of the industrial zone.
But it works. It's good. It's just it looks so bad.
It does.
Good pick. It's a good game.
Yes, it's a good game.
My number 3 is our second crossover.
Oh, really? Already? Look at that.
Number 3 is our second crossover, and that
I was
is
so right.
Legendary, a Marvel deck building game. And this has already been on JT's list on the other one, so that is great. It's a great deck building theme, and I kind of mentioned this on the last video. It's what revived deck building for me because Dominion just totally killed it. We played Dominion so much, I got tired of deck building. And the dry medieval theme that's on Dominion just drove it into the ground for me. Legendary put deck building back on the map for me. And I also really enjoyed the Legendary Encounters Aliens.
Yep.
Really enjoyed that one as well. So all of those things, Legendary is really kind of what, I already said it, what really put it back on the map for me. And that's what, that's kind of the best thing I can say about it. Because
there have been a couple of new ones
really
come out lately,
deck
the Legendary ones. I can't remember what they are right now for some reason. But
well, I fell out of it. We mentioned this on the other one. There's such a setup time to it. I really kind of fell out of it. I still own it. I still have it. I don't own the Legendary Encounters Alien one. I got rid of that one, but
I did too.
I kept the Legendary Marvel one because I'm a huge Marvel fan. So I still have it, and I would still love playing it, but it does have kind of a chunky setup.
Yeah, it's a chunky setup for sure.
But I really enjoyed the game, and I really enjoyed it a lot. So that's my number 3 from Upper Deck Entertainment, Legendary, a Marvel deck building game.
My
really
number
long name,
3.
too.
Yes, it's a long name. My number 3 is a really cool, one of the coolest 2-player games of all time. I'll even say it. I'll throw that out there. Like, this is a 2-player game that's just totally cool. And it is called Targi. Targi will always have something special in a lot of people's hearts, not just mine, but it just has such a neat little mechanism. You have this board that's you have 9 tiles on the inside, so then you have a border around that. So would that be 5 by 5 border around that?
Yeah.
And there's this little robber that goes around and causes problems, but he just does his own thing. But in this, you're placing your people on one of those 4 interior, so you have 16 different spots to place it on. But you place one here, you place one up here, wherever you place the second one here. You can't place them in a direct line, and you can't place them in the robber's spot. But then there's each an action where they are, and then where they cross, you also get to take the 2 actions of those 2 cards there, or take those cards there. It's kind of a set collection thing. Yeah. So you're just collecting resources and building these cards and set collecting these different cards. But that internal mechanism where you're trying to puzzle out, where am I going to go on this side and this side so that I get the piece that I want, and you put down your first one, and then the next person goes right where you needed to go on either side. Now that spot's blocked from you being able to get it. So it really creates a cool puzzle every single game.
I don't think I've played this game, and that's saying a lot because Tom and Z both love this game.
This is a great game,
and I think they've talked about it a lot. It was also, we did a list on, me and 3 other people did a list, top 5 games that we've never played for no good reason.
Oh yeah,
and it was also on, I believe, Bree Goldman's list, where for the same reason she's. There's no reason for her not to have played this game because so many people around her like it so much.
Yep.
And same thing for me. I've just never played it, I don't think. Yeah. So
it is a great 2-player game.
Yep. Good pick.
All right. That was my number 3.
All right. My number 2 My number 2 is a game from Minion Games, worker placement game, and it's one of the coolest implementations of a worker placement game. One of the first ones I think that I played that had different kinds of workers for different kinds of places.
Okay.
It's called the Manhattan Project.
Man, I want to play this so bad. So bad.
I don't own it anymore. I wish I did, though, because I really enjoy this game. First of all, I love the theme. You know, the whole idea of building up that the nuclear.
Wait, is this the first one?
Yeah.
This is the first one.
It's not 12 minutes to midnight.
I want to play Energy Empire.
Empire.
But I want to play this one too.
Yeah. Energy Empire is also a good one, but this one was like the original. This is the one that I really enjoyed first, and this is what made me want to play Energy Empire as well, because they continue that series. And then I think the third one was 12 minutes to midnight or something like that.
Yeah,
I can't remember what it was. 5 minutes to midnight, something.
Yeah.
But the Manhattan Project is such a fun game, and I love the little miniatures, the little meeples that look different for what they are. Some of them are scientists, some of them are engineers, and some of them are just regular like workers. I think I just really enjoyed it. It has that same cool thing about worker placement games where you're putting people out, but these guys do better in certain areas than they do in others, and I really like that mechanism. So go ahead.
No, I've really wanted to play this game, and I've done a lot of reading on it and done a lot of. I just have never picked it up.
Yep. It's a great game. It's my number 2. Sorry, my number 2, Minion Games, The Manhattan Project.
I feel bad now.
Why?
I just do. All right. My number 2 is a worker placement game from Wizards of the Coast, and it's D&D themed.
I knew this was going to be.
You knew this was going to be on my list.
I thought it was going to be number 1.
That's Lords of Waterdeep.
Yeah, Lords of Waterdeep.
Lords of Waterdeep will be always in my collection forever. And it's not like the greatest worker placement game in the world or anything else, but it's
the D&D theme that does it for you.
It's the D&D theme that does it for me, and it's collecting the. Like you said, I think we talked about this in a video a long time ago, but I have 3D. I've 3D printed all these little assassins and fighters and clerics and wizards to go inside of it to get rid of all of the cubes.
Yep.
I've 3D printed the buildings so that when you have the building on your side, you have this cool little building that shows that it's yours. Cool. Some of those things are just visually add to it.
I think I would totally enjoy playing your copy.
Yeah, I need to
turn
in 3 wizards and a thief and a priest to do this contract.
It would feel I think it would be much more thematic.
Yeah.
With those little pieces in it. If you're just turning in cubes, it's just a cube pusher at that point.
Yep.
And that's one of the things that really kept it off my list, is that in its base version, the theme is tenuously applied. But with some miniatures, with some buildings out there, like you said, it could really shine.
Yep. It's a really cool game. Yep. Really fun. I play it with anybody, any day, and I will always own it.
Yep.
So.
This is definitely probably a number 11 or a 12 for me.
Yeah.
Just didn't make my list because of that aesthetic disconnect of it, but with something like the blinging out that he has, it probably would definitely belong on the list.
Perfect. That was my number 2, Lords of Waterdeep.
My number one is an Egyptian-themed game.
It's not Egyptian-themed.
Not yours.
If you don't pick my number 1, I don't know what you were looking at 2012.
Kemet.
Oh, I knew that.
Kemet is my number 1. Love this game. It's an area control, hand management game, but it also has a tech tree in there as well. And these are all kinds of things that I really enjoyed. I don't always enjoy tech trees because sometimes they can
I do.
Kind of stifle. This is why. If you don't get the right things, if you're not able to get the right things, it can really stifle you because you can't progress the way you really need to keep up.
Yep.
But I love the area control mechanism in this game. I love how everything is not too far away. You were always you could always contest somebody because there was always a way to get to where you needed to be. The board was small enough to be that way, where somebody couldn't turtle and just kind of grow up that side of the board. I also liked the four-sided dice, the triangles that were in this one. I liked those as well. And all of the different little monsters that you could have join your army, but you had to work up those tech trees in order to get those. But
I almost kickstarted the Blood and Sand, which
Yeah.
I think's been out for like a year now, right? A
Yeah.
year or two, but I did not.
Yeah.
So I would have liked to. But
yeah, they have recently improved upon and revised some of the Kemet, but this is a really great game, and this is the original version of it. This is what started that path, so I really enjoyed it. Great game. That's my number one, Kemet.
That is a worthy number one. All right. I'll give it to him.
Sweet.
All right. My number one
Uh-oh.
is an underrated game in my opinion, but I think there are people out there that know this game and understand this game and know how fantastic it is. And that's a game called Ginkgopolis.
Oh, okay. That is actually a good game.
Xavier, Xavier George, I don't know how to say his last name, and Pearl Games. Ginkgopolis is a really cool game where you're collecting these tiles, and the tiles are sequentially ordered and in different colors. There's yellow ones and red ones and blue ones. And you're trying to build out this city or this of Ginkgopolis. And you can either do that by building on the perimeter, or you can do that by building the stacks taller and taller and taller. But you have very limited resources, and you're having to do this where you end up getting a card that either has an A through J or K on it, or you get a card that has one of the tiles on it. So if you get the one that has a tile on it, that means you can build on top of that tile. And if you get the A through J, there are actually these circles that it will show you which part of the city you can pull out of. And every time you do that, every time you go up or every time you come out, you have to put resources on them. And in the end game, it's an area control, and you're going to get more points for how big these areas get and for how many pieces are on them. But it's this really cool. You put down a card face down, and you might put a tile on with it. Everybody does the same thing, and then you flip it over, and then you all, interact with what you're doing. And then you take your hand of cards and you give it to the next person. And they have their own tiles. So what that card does for them, based on what tiles they have, is completely different. So it's just a really cool mechanic. You're trying to control these different areas and not get your pieces pulled off. It has a really cool thing that if your pieces, say that you put a level 3 on top of one of my level 2s, and yours is a higher number, you would take my 2 pieces off, which is nice because I get them back and I need those resources. But I also get a victory point for each one that you take off. So it's not a complete waste, although it hurts pretty bad sometimes. But just really cool balance and this really cool board presence as you start to build this city up. That's my number one.
Only played that a couple of times.
I love it.
And I mean that. I like two is the maximum I think I played that game. But I do remember that it was a good one. And I remember people highly praising it back then. But great game, great lists. Well, that is about it for us. Thank you for joining us here on the Flipside. The next bottom 5 on the Dice Tower is going to be our bottom 5 nature-themed games. And that was an interesting list to put together for me.
I have to admit, I'm still building the list.
Still working on it.
I thought it would be more. I thought it would be easier.
I
thought it would be easier, but dragons don't count. I don't know. I'm confused.
I am firmly resolved now that I just don't like that many nature-themed games. That is just the way it is. So it'll be an interesting list. Come back next week for that on the Dice Tower, and then the top 5 will be posted the following Monday. So that's what's coming up next. Nature-themed game, folks. Thanks for being here. We'll see you guys and gals on the flip side.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
What he said.
See you later.
I always forget to say that.
It's all good.
Take care.